Hi friends, we are continuing our discussion on heat exchangers. Today we are going to study some more important theory concepts as far as heat exchangers are concerned. So one of the most important concept is overall heat transfer coefficient, which is a very frequent term used in heat exchanger analysis. So let us see a tubular heat exchanger. A tubular heat exchanger, suppose the cold fluid moves through the outside shell, outside tube, and the hot fluid moves through the inside tube. So naturally hot fluid exchanges heat with the cold fluid. So how does that happen? The hot fluid is in the inside tube, it transfers its heat to the inner pipe, and the inner pipe the inside surface of the inner pipe transfers the heat to the outside surface of the inner pipe, and then from there it transfers the heat to the cold fluid, right? So there are three stages of heat transfer there, resulting in three resistances over there. So don't worry, these are very simple things. So from hot fluid to this surface we have a resistance, and through this surface we have the second resistance, and then after that here we have the third resistance. So as you can see, this is one convective resistance, this is also convective, while this one is conductive resistance. Okay, so it's an elaborated version here. We have the convective, conductive and convective resistances. So here we know the convective resistance is 1 by HA. Conductive resistance we already know, it is already equal to log R2 by R1 by 2 pi Lk. We already know for a cylinder. Okay, so the total resistance, it will be in series, right? So it will be the sum total of all these resistances. Now it is the thermal resistance. We already know that Q equal to delta T by R thermal, right? Now if we define our overall heat transfer as Q equal to UA delta T. So if we compare these two equations, Q common, delta T common, we get that 1 by R thermal equal to UA, right? We get 1 by R thermal equal to U into A, or U equal to 1 by R thermal into A, right? So this is what the definition of overall heat transfer coefficient is. So you can better understand it as instead of expressing in thermal resistances, we are expressing in terms of conductance. I mean, not in the terms of resistance, in terms of conductance. If we are expressing heat transfer, we get a term, overall term, which combines the effect of conduction, convection. Okay, so if there is radiation also, we can include that in the overall heat transfer coefficient term. Okay, so that is how we define U. Now we already know R thermal equal to 1 by UA, and U, overall heat transfer coefficient, can be expressed in terms of inside surface area and outside surface area. Accordingly, it can be 1 by UIAI and 1 by UOAO, or UO equal to 1 by R thermal into AO. But we already know R thermal equal to the sum total of this, R thermal equal to sum total of this. So if we substitute all these things, and later on if we simplify, we arrive at an equation of this form: U equal to 1 by HI into DI by 2K plus log DO by DA plus DI by DO into HO. Now if we give an assumption that if the walls are extremely thin, that is, these walls are extremely thin such that the resistance through them are negligibly small, or the thermal conductivity is high enough so that the resistance is low. In such conditions, DO and DI can be taken more or less same, so this log term will vanish, and also AI by and AO remains the same, and this term finally, overall heat transfer coefficient, finally terms it comes to U equal to 1 by HI plus 1 by HO. So in many of our problems, U can be found out by using this equation only. But it is always not true, because once we are given other factors, we definitely have to take all those factors. Now we have the next heading, fouling factor. This is also very important topic. Fouling factor always comes into play for a heat exchanger which is already in use inside a industry for a long time. Why? Because once a heat exchanger is installed in a industry, it serves a long period. It is installed for the full lifetime of the industry. So chances are like suppose the fluids coming to the heat exchangers are corrosive, maybe corrosive, and even the water coming, it will be having some dirt and all. So finally, in a prolonged use, this heat exchangers walls will be covered by some dirt or scales or some sedimentation. So these sedimentation, in fact, it acts as a resistance to the flow. So our heat exchanger calculation, our design calculation, our result, that is the temperature drop and all, are majorly dependent on the resistances, and in our resistances we never introduce these fouling issues. So by non-destructive testing methods and all, we finally found out what is the nature of the scales inside the heat exchanger, and we compute a factor of resistance to that, and this factor is called the fouling factor. So this fouling factor can be there in the inside surface of the inside pipe or the outside surface of the inside pipe. Namely, it can be RFI and RFO. So it has a tremendous effect on the overall heat transfer coefficient as well. So including overall fouling factor, our overall heat transfer equation can be improved as like this. So this term need to be introduced only when fouling factors are given. In the problem, if it is given as a fresh heat exchangers or a new heat exchanger, we never want to use this fouling factors. If it has to be used, it will be definitely given in the problem, and this formula, it's never needed to be by hearted because it's available in your data book. So please don't worry, it's this fouling factor may be asked as a 5-mark question or so, but it is being asked. Okay. So now we'll go to another important topic, which is the heat exchanger analysis. The heat exchanger analysis, basically we have two types of analysis as far as heat exchangers are considered. One is the LMTD analysis and the other is the effectiveness NTU analysis. LMTD analysis are mainly used for the sizing calculation of heat exchangers. Sizing in the sense for design calculations, that is initially if we are designing a heat exchanger, that is for serving a purpose of heat exchange, if we are designing a heat exchanger, we need to fix the dimensions of the heat exchangers, like the diameter, area, length, number of tubes, etc. These are called the sizing calculations, and LMTD method is very much utilized for these calculations. Effectiveness NTU methods are mainly used for a heat exchangers which are already in use inside an industry. So it is seldom used for heat exchanger sizing and all. So the first topic coming out is logarithmic mean temperature difference method. So I think we can cover that in the next session. Thank you.